Koinonia is the basis of Christian life and its most authentic expression. Koinonia is the basis of Christian life and its most basic, authentic expression. What is koinonia? Koinonia is a Greek word that means Christian unity, fellowship, and participation. And it's the ideal for all Christians living together. But the people of Corinth are not living in koinonia, and St. Paul is not happy about it. In his first letter to the Corinthians today, Paul specifically calls out the fact that these people have divided themselves into different flavors of Christianity, depending on who baptized them or who preached to them first. And this is not okay. Some people say that they belong to Apollos because he was a really cool guy from Egypt, and they liked the way that he preached. Some people say they belong to Cephas, or Peter, the Peter, because he was the first pope. Some people say they belong to Christ alone. They think that they're better than everyone else because they're not getting caught up in the preacher or the church. But they're ignoring the fact that Christ established his church here on earth to be governed by humans. Paul himself even condemns any hero worship the people of Corinth give him. All of their activities, all of this shows a lack of balance, a lack of koinonia, and a lack of unity can only cause problems. So who here is a Hawkeye fan? Yeah, there you go. Very good. Would you still be a Hawkeye fan if Kirk Ferentz retired? Absolutely. Or maybe did your allegiance waver when Ferentz first replaced Hayden Fry back in '98? No? Being a Hawkeye fan is much bigger than just one man or one coach. Any Vikings fans here? No, or they're just ashamed, whatever. Okay, I don't think I need to remind you that they've only made it to 4 Super Bowls, all of them in the 70s, and they've never been back since. So, are you still a Vikings fan, though? Of course you are. It's about the colors and the culture and the community of watching games and cheering when they win and punching a wall when they lose. I know the opposite happened in 2016 when the Cubs won the World Series. So many people became Cubs fans. But of course, they're not real Cubs fans because they haven't waited over a century like the real Cubs fans, right? You see how these types of attitudes tear down unity and cause factions and cripple koinonia. Is everyone here an American? Yeah? What if you don't like whoever the current president happens to be? Do you still enjoy the same citizenship and freedoms that everyone else does? Or do you go live somewhere else until a president that you do like comes along? The same is true for being Catholic. We are all baptized into Christ. We all share the same Eucharist. And we're all called to live in koinonia, unity, fellowship, and participation. So no matter who the priest is, no matter what the opinion of the neighbor in the pew has, we're all called to live in unity. Did you know that there are some groups of Catholics that don't accept Pope Francis as the true pope? Actually, one guy on YouTube, a beloved child of God on YouTube commented on one of my videos that I'm not a valid priest because I wasn't ordained under a certain year or a certain rite. I handled it very well. I was just polite and played dumb. So it's totally okay, though, to have preferences and opinions and likes and dislikes. I personally don't like or enjoy any Star Wars film made in the last 10 years, but I'm not going to let that get in the way of calling myself a fan or stop calling them real Star Wars movies. And of course, no one can compare to Alex Trebek as the host of Jeopardy, and yet people tune in week after week to see Ken Jennings doing his very best. I love being here at Notre Dame as your pastor. I love trying to make koinonia happen in Cresco as best I can, and I'm so grateful for the overwhelming amounts of love that all of you have shown me. But I'm not going to be here at Notre Dame forever. There were many before me. There will be many after me. I am merely an instrument of the gospel, even if I'm an instrument that you and I really like. Paul says, Christ sent me to preach the gospel, and not with the wisdom of human eloquence, so that the cross of Christ might not be emptied of its meaning. I think the solution to the Corinthians' problem of membership and allegiance is to say, I belong to Christ by way of Apollos, or I belong to Christ by way of Paul. Similarly, you could say, I belong to the Hawkeyes by way of Kirk Ferentz. Right now, you all belong to Christ by way of Father Jacob Rouse. But someday you will belong to Christ by way of another priest. But until that day, I'm honored to be the instrument of what truly matters, that is the death and the resurrection of Jesus Christ, he who does not change. Attach yourselves to Jesus, not whatever will change, not whoever's in charge right now, not whatever you like or dislike or agree or disagree with. Attach yourselves to Jesus in the Eucharist. In the midst of a world of uncertainty and crazy weather and many different leaders, Jesus in the Eucharist is the one thing that will not change. And when he is the center, our koinonia will grow, and we can show the world what true Christian unity, fellowship, and participation looks like, which prepares us all for heaven. Amen.